Chosen one, listen closely. There's a stirring inside your spirit that you can't quite explain. It feels like a whisper echoing through your soul, a divine pull that keeps saying, "It's time." You may not see it yet, but heaven has been preparing this very moment for you. Every delay, every heartbreak, every silent season was not wasted. It was divine training. It was destiny's preparation. For so long, you've carried visions that others couldn't understand. You've held dreams that refused to die, even when life tried to bury them. And lately, something in your atmosphere has shifted. Haven't you felt it? The same things that used to drain you no longer hold power. The same circles that once defined you no longer fit. The same doubts that once silenced you no longer speak with authority. That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. Because when destiny calls everything misaligned, begins to fall away. And right now, heaven is calling your name. You've been standing at the threshold for far too long, looking at the door, sensing the promise, but hesitating to walk through. Maybe fear whispered, "You're not ready." Maybe wounds from the past said you'll fail again. But God says, step forward. This is not the time to shrink back. This is not the time to question your anointing. The voice of destiny is speaking louder than your fear. And the very ground beneath your feet is shifting to make room for your obedience. The moment you take that step, something in the unseen will break open. The favor that was delayed will find you. The opportunities that were hidden will reveal themselves. And the divine alignment that once felt distant will begin to unfold before your eyes. This is not a random word. It's a divine summons. Heaven has declared the time for hiding is over. You've been equipped. You've been refined. You've been chosen for this exact hour. So as you hear these words, let them resonate beyond your ears. Let them settle into your spirit. The voice you feel tugging inside you is not imagination. It is divine confirmation. God is saying, step forward. Your destiny is calling, and everything you've prayed for is waiting on your movement. You can sense it, can't you? That quiet but unmistakable weight in the air. The awareness that something greater than you is moving. It's not just a feeling. It's a divine presence wrapping around you, reminding you that heaven has been watching every step, every tear, every silent prayer whispered in the dark. For what you are stepping into now was never built by human hands. It was spoken long before your birth. The blueprint of your purpose was etched into eternity's design before time even began. And the one who formed you in secret is now unveiling what was hidden for so long. God himself has called this moment forth. Not an angel, not a messenger, but the voice of the Almighty. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," has spoken into the atmosphere of your life, declaring it is time. Every storm you faced, every delay that tried to convince you were forgotten, every closed door that made you doubt your worth. All of it was heaven's strategy. You were not being punished. You were being positioned. The silence of God was not rejection. It was calibration. He was aligning your heart with your destiny, teaching you to hear his whisper above the world's noise. And now that same God is breaking the silence. He is saying, "Step forward, my child. You've been hidden long enough." There were seasons when you thought heaven had gone quiet, when your prayers seemed to echo back unanswered. But what you didn't see was the construction happening in the unseen. While you were questioning the stillness, God was gathering the pieces. While you were mourning what you lost, he was preparing what you would gain. The silence was the sound of heaven building the foundation of your next chapter. There are moments when destiny doesn't arrive with thunder and lightning, but with a still small voice. That's what's happening right now. You're not hearing this by chance. You've been guided to this very word, drawn here by divine orchestration. The Spirit of God is confirming something you already felt deep within. This is your appointed hour. Heaven's agenda concerning you is active. What was delayed is now accelerating. The angels assigned to your life have received their new instructions, and they are already moving on your behalf. The shift you've been sensing is not imagination, it's divine motion. And when God says step forward, He's not just asking for movement, He's releasing authority. As your foot touches new ground, His presence will go before you. As you obey, the path will illuminate. For this is not about your ability, it's about your alignment. You were never meant to stay where you are. The reason your spirit has been restless is because heaven has declared that your waiting season has expired. The promise is not in the distance anymore. It's standing right before you, calling you into manifestation. There is a holy stirring taking place, a shift that cannot be explained by logic, only discerned by the Spirit. Heaven is opening its scrolls, and your name is being spoken in divine chambers. What was once delayed is now being decreed into motion. The time of waiting is closing. The season of walking into what was promised has begun. You are standing at the edge of a divine unveiling. The curtain is being pulled back on a story heaven has been writing in silence, the story of your becoming. For years you have lived in the middle ground, between promise and manifestation, wondering when the tide would turn. But listen carefully, the tide has already turned. What you felt breaking inside of you wasn't collapse. It was birthing. In the unseen realm, angels are moving swiftly, carrying sealed instructions from the throne of God. They have been released to open doors that were bolted shut, to remove obstacles you could not move in your own strength, and to announce before the adversary, this one belongs to the Lord. You are stepping into a divine realignment. Everything that drifted off course is being recalibrated by the hand of heaven. A wind is rising, not a destructive wind, but the breath of God Himself. It's sweeping through the atmosphere around your life, breathing life into what seemed lifeless, restoring strength where there was only fatigue. You will notice it not by sight first, but by awareness. Circumstances may still look the same, but something within you will feel undeniably different. That's how the Spirit moves from the inside out. The Lord says, I am calling you out of the shadows. You will no longer be hidden among those who could not see your value. You will no longer shrink to fit the comfort of those who feared your calling. I am bringing visibility to your voice, clarity to your vision, and power to your purpose. You've carried this mantle in silence long enough. Heaven has watched you stay faithful when no one saw, stay humble when you could have proven yourself. Stay true when compromise would have been easier. And now that quiet obedience has reached heaven like incense. The King has noticed. This is the moment of unveiling. The Lord is peeling away the layers that time, fear, and betrayal tried to bury you under. He's revealing who you were all along, not the version shaped by pain, but the one anointed by purpose. The world is about to encounter what heaven has been cultivating in secret. But hear this clearly, this unveiling is not about recognition, it's about release. You are being released into the fullness of your destiny, not for applause, but for impact. You are being placed in divine positions where your words will carry weight. Your presence will shift atmospheres, and your obedience will unlock miracles. God is saying, step forward, for I have gone before you. Every chain of hesitation is breaking. Every fear of rejection is dissolving. Every doubt that said not yet is being silenced. The same hand that called Moses from the wilderness, that anointed David in obscurity, that lifted Esther into the palace, that same hand rests upon you now. And as you step, heaven steps with you. When you move, the ground will move. When you speak, the heavens will echo. When you believe, mountains will shift. This is not a gentle nudge, it's a divine activation. Your destiny has been waiting for your yes. All that's left is your movement. So do not look back. The places that once held you cannot hold you anymore. The people who once misunderstood you were never meant to carry this part of your journey. The favor you need is not behind you. It's ahead, waiting at the next step. This is the prophecy. You are crossing from preparation into purpose. What was once a vision will become visibility. What was once a promise will become provision. And what was once a whisper will become a declaration, known by all God has done it. Destiny in its truest form is not a destination, it's a divine unfolding. It's not something you chase, it's something you align with. When God calls you to step forward, He's not pushing you into the unknown. He's inviting you back into what He already finished long ago. You see, heaven operates in completion. God doesn't begin something unless it's already done in His realm. So when He says step forward, He's not asking you to create destiny. He's asking you to walk into it. The path has already been written. Every divine connection, every breakthrough, every door. You are not building the promise. You are simply catching up to what's already been spoken over your name. But to walk into destiny, you must understand this sacred truth. Faith is the bridge between promise and manifestation. Faith is what allows heaven's decree to take form in the earth. And faith is not always loud. Sometimes it looks like quiet obedience, sometimes like walking when there's no visible road, sometimes like saying yes when nothing makes sense. You've been in a season where it felt like God was stripping things away. But that wasn't loss, it was alignment. The pruning was preparation. The detours were direction. Every time something left, space was being made for something divine to arrive. What looked like rejection was really redirection. What felt like silence was really strategy. Think of a seed buried in the soil that disappears for a season before it breaks forth. The burial was never death. It was transformation. And the same is true for you. You were planted, not forgotten. Hidden, not rejected. God has been forming strength in the dark roots of resilience, faith, and spiritual authority. When destiny begins to call, it often comes with disruption. Because you cannot carry new oil in old wineskins. You can't enter a promised land while clinging to Egypt's mindset. That's why some relationships faded, why certain environments became uncomfortable, why your spirit could no longer find peace where you used to. Heaven was making you restless so that you'd be ready to move. This is how divine timing works. God waits until what's inside of you outgrows where you are. Then He calls you forward. It's not punishment, it's promotion. It's not chaos, it's calling. Every challenge you've faced was heaven's way of strengthening your faith muscle, because destiny requires endurance. And faith without endurance collapses under the weight of blessing. To step forward means to trust beyond visibility, to act not because you have proof, but because you have a word. It means walking in rhythm with heaven's heartbeat, even when the world calls you foolish. It means believing that if God called you, He's already made provision for what's ahead. The storms that once terrified you were not meant to destroy you. They were meant to train your authority. Lightning didn't come to scare you. It came to illuminate the sky so you'd see what's possible. Every storm introduced you to a deeper version of yourself, the one God saw all along. There's also a mystery hidden in divine waiting. While you thought you were waiting on God, He was actually waiting on you. Waiting for your faith to mature, for your fear to loosen its grip, for your heart to stop running from what He placed inside it. You were waiting for a sign. Heaven was waiting for surrender. And now that surrender has come, you may not even realize it, but something in your spirit has already shifted. You're no longer asking, when will it happen? You're beginning to whisper, I'm ready. That's the sound of alignment. That's the sound heaven responds to. In divine language, step forward means agree with me. It's God saying, Stop living beneath what I designed you to be. It's heaven's way of saying, I trust you, with the promise. You've come through refining fires. You've walked through dry valleys. You've survived spiritual warfare meant to silence you. Yet here you are, not broken, but purified. Every tear you cried has watered the ground of your destiny, and now the soil is ready to bloom. This next chapter is not about striving. It's about flowing. When God says step forward, He's asking you to stop fighting the current and let His river carry you. You don't have to force what's already been ordained. You just have to believe enough to move. For destiny is not built on effort, it's born through surrender. And when surrender meets divine timing, miracles begin to multiply. When God begins to move, creation responds. Heaven never speaks without leaving evidence. And as you step forward in obedience, signs will begin to appear, not random, but strategic. These confirmations are heaven's way of whispering, you are on the right path. Pay attention, because these signs may not shout. They will often speak in quiet repetition. You might start noticing divine patterns, moments that seem too precise to be coincidence. It could be the same numbers showing up everywhere you look, like a rhythm echoing heaven's timing. It could be sudden conversations that mirror your prayers or doors opening in places you never thought to knock. Sometimes confirmation arrives through disruption. When God is shifting your direction, He will allow certain things to lose their peace. What used to feel comfortable begins to feel foreign. What once fit no longer does. It's not punishment, it's proof. Heaven disturbs what's familiar to awaken what's divine. You may also notice that your discernment becomes sharper. People, environments, even thoughts you'll sense instantly, whether they align with your next chapter. Don't ignore that sensitivity. It's a spiritual upgrade. God is fine-tuning your awareness so that you can walk with precision. And then there are the divine encounters moments where you know God orchestrated something just for you. A stranger says words that pierce your heart. A message finds you at the exact moment you needed it. Or you open Scripture and the verse feels alive, as if heaven highlighted it for your eyes alone. These are not coincidences. They are breadcrumbs of destiny. Another sign, the sudden acceleration of things that once felt delayed. Where there was resistance, now there is flow. Where doors were locked, now they swing wide. You'll sense a divine ease, as if the winds of favor have shifted in your direction. It will feel like walking downstream, still requiring movement, but carried by grace. And pay close attention to your inner atmosphere. Before anything changes externally, peace will move in first. It's that unexplainable calm in your spirit, even when nothing around you makes sense. That peace is not emptiness. It's confirmation. It means heaven has already gone ahead of you. Lastly, you'll know this word is real when your spirit begins to awaken with purpose again. Dreams you buried will start breathing. Ideas will flow. Creative sparks will ignite in your mind at random hours. You'll feel the call of destiny as both a hunger and a knowing. That's the Spirit reminding you, you are not behind. You are right on time. So don't dismiss these signs as coincidence. They are divine fingerprints, evidence that the unseen realm is at work in your favor. Heaven speaks through alignment, not accident. Every whisper, every pattern, every nudge carries the same message. Keep moving. I am with you. Every divine calling carries a refining fire. And though heaven's voice calls you forward with love, the path ahead will still have resistance, not to stop you, but to strengthen what has been placed inside of you. Before every great unveiling comes a hidden testing, because destiny cannot rest on a foundation that hasn't been proven. As you step forward, you may notice opposition rising unexpectedly. People you thought would celebrate you may grow silent or distant. Doors that seemed certain may suddenly close. Plans you made with confidence may fall apart without warning. But do not be alarmed. This is the divine pattern. Every transition begins with tension. Every elevation attracts resistance. The enemy will try to whisper, "Maybe you misunderstood. Maybe it wasn't your time." But hear this clearly. The presence of resistance is not the absence of calling it, it's the proof of it. Hell does not fight what heaven has not chosen. The shaking around you is evidence that your movement in the Spirit has been noticed. There will be moments when your faith feels stretched thin, when silence returns after a season of clarity. These are the times heaven watches to see if your trust is anchored in feelings or in faith. God hides not to punish, but to purify, to ensure that your obedience flows from love, not convenience. Remember how the goldsmith refines gold, the fire increases the impurities, rise, and only when he can see his reflection does he pull the vessel from the flame. You too are in that process. The fire is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to reveal the reflection of your Creator within you. There will be days when fatigue whispers louder than faith, when the path seems lonelier than you expected. But know this: destiny always narrows before it expands. You are walking through the narrow gate that few are willing to endure. It's in that narrow place that strength, discernment, and unwavering conviction are born. Sometimes the challenge won't come from outside forces, but from within. Doubt, comparison, impatience. These inner battles will test whether you truly believe what God has spoken. When that happens, remember, you are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. The outcome has already been settled. Do not despise the stretching. It's the sign that new capacity is forming. God will never place you in rooms your character isn't ready to sustain. So if the pressure increases, rejoice. It means heaven is expanding your spirit for greater influence. The pain you feel now is not punishment. It's preparation. The warfare you face is not random. It's rehearsal for authority. You're learning how to stand in storms so that when the winds of influence blow, you won't be moved. So when you encounter these hidden challenges, don't shrink back. Lift your head steady, your heart, and remember what He said: "I will never leave you nor forsake you." The tests are temporary, but the glory that follows them is eternal. Now that the fire has refined you and the signs have begun to appear, heaven speaks with clarity. This is what you must do next. For every destiny requires not only revelation, but response. The call of God has gone forth, but it is your obedience that will unlock the next door. The first instruction is this: move when you feel the nudge. Do not wait for perfect conditions. The enemy of destiny is hesitation. God rarely shows you the full staircase. He gives you one illuminated step and asks, "Will you trust me?" Every miracle you've ever read about began with a single act of faith. Moses lifted his staff. Esther stepped into the throne room. Peter stepped out of the boat. Each moment looked risky until heaven responded. Obedience always precedes the opening. The second instruction: guard your atmosphere. In this season, not every voice can go with you. Protect the peace that God has placed within you like a sacred treasure. There will be conversations that drain environments, that distract people who pull you backward in the name of comfort. Discernment will be your shield. When something disturbs your spirit, don't explain it away. That's heaven warning you to disconnect. What you allow near you determines what grows within you. Third, speak life, even when you don't see it yet. Your words are not casual, they are creative. When you declare what God has promised, you partner with His power. Heaven's language is faith, and every decree of faith releases movement in the unseen. So begin to speak alignment, favor, and open doors. Say it until your spirit believes it, and believe it until your world reflects it. Fourth, Stay anchored in the secret place. When destiny accelerates, distractions multiply. That's why your quiet time with God must not be optional. It must be oxygen. Before you speak to the world, let heaven speak to you. You don't need another opinion. You need revelation. The secret place is where clarity is birthed, where strategy downloads, where fear loses its grip. The stronger your intimacy, the clearer your instructions will become. Fifth, forgive and release. There are people who wounded you, doors that closed unjustly, moments that broke you. But you cannot step forward carrying yesterday's debris. Unforgiveness is a weight disguised as protection. It keeps you tied to what God already released you from. When you forgive, you're not excusing the hurt, you're freeing yourself from the hold of it. Your future cannot breathe if it's chained to your past. Sixth, walk in humility and expectation. Humility keeps the oil flowing. Expectation keeps your spirit awake. Walk with quiet confidence, knowing you are chosen, yet remembering it's grace that chose you. Expect miracles daily. Expect divine encounters. Expect favor to locate you. Heaven responds to hearts that believe it's possible. Finally, act now. There is an urgency in the spirit. Heaven is aligning opportunities that will not remain open indefinitely. When God says, step forward, He's inviting you into a moving season. The window is open not to pressure you, but to position you. Move while the water is stirred. Don't wait for fear to subside. Courage is built in motion. This is the divine strategy. Move in faith. Protect your peace. Speak life. Stay close to God. Forgive freely. Walk humbly. Act promptly. Each instruction is a key, and as you turn them, doors will begin to open with divine ease. The supernatural will start to intersect with your daily life. You will notice sudden clarity, divine connections, and inner strength you didn't know you had. Remember, destiny is not unlocked by talent. It's unlocked by obedience. Heaven doesn't require perfection, only willingness. So even if your voice trembles, even if your hands shake, take the step anyway. The anointing meets you in motion. God has already gone before you. The path is marked, the angels are assigned, and grace has been released. Now it's your turn to move. You don't walk this path alone. Every step you take in obedience is shadowed by divine presence. The moment you said yes, heaven released protection over your journey. Angels were assigned to your path, not distant silent observers, but active guardians, carrying light strength and authority. There is a shield around you that no weapon can penetrate. It's not visible to the natural eye, but it's real, stronger than any wall, more powerful than any force. The hand of God has encircled you. You have walked through danger and didn't even know it because His covering was already there. You have survived attacks that never reached you because grace intercepted them before they formed. In the Spirit, there is a hedge of fire around your purpose. Every scheme meant to distract or destroy is already neutralized. The weapon may form, but it will not prosper. Words spoken against you will dissolve in the air. Plots designed to entangle you will collapse before they touch you. When God marks you for destiny, no enemy can rewrite your story. There will be moments when fear tries to creep back in, when circumstances whisper, "You're exposed. You're vulnerable." But the truth is, you are surrounded by light. You are hidden under the shadow of the Almighty. Even in chaos, you are protected. Even in uncertainty, you are covered. And when the road feels lonely, remember this: you are never out of His sight. The same God who guided Israel by a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night still guides you now. His presence doesn't just visit, it abides. The Spirit of God has taken residence within you, and wherever you go, heaven's authority goes with you. You'll begin to notice small signs of divine protection, near misses that could have been worse, sudden peace in the middle of turmoil, provision that arrives just in time. These are reminders that the promise is guarded. You are not moving through uncertainty. You are walking through a prepared path, protected by divine intelligence. God says, "Fear not, for I am with you. When you pass through the waters, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned." This is not poetic language, it's a covenant promise. The presence that called you forward is the same presence that will keep you standing. So breathe. You don't need to figure out every outcome. You don't need to anticipate every obstacle. Just stay close to His presence, and the way will unfold before you. Protection is not just surrounding you, it's within you. Peace is not just a feeling, it's your inheritance. You are safe in His hands. You are guarded by His promise. You are covered by His wings, and no force in existence can separate you from that love. When you step forward, something shifts in both realms, seen and unseen. The moment obedience meets divine timing, transformation begins. You may not notice it at first, but the atmosphere around your life will start to change. The heaviness that once lingered will lift. The confusion that clouded your vision will clear. Suddenly, the same path that felt uncertain will shine with supernatural clarity. This is what happens when destiny awakens. Doors open not by effort, but by divine order. You'll find yourself at the right place, at the right time, speaking the right words. Not because you forced it, but because heaven orchestrated it. Grace becomes your rhythm. Favor becomes your language. Miracles become your normal. You will look back and realize that the waiting was never wasted. Every delay was preparing the soil for harvest. Every tear watered the seed. Every heartbreak created space for joy. The things that once broke you will no longer define you, they will testify for you. People will look at you and not recognize who you've become, because transformation will radiate from your very presence. In this new season, you will walk with quiet confidence, not arrogance, but assurance. The fear that once restrained you will lose its grip, replaced by the peace that only God can give. You'll find yourself walking in rooms you once dreamed about, standing in spaces you once prayed for. But even in elevation, humility will keep you grounded, because you'll know it wasn't your strength that brought you here. It was grace. Relationships will realign. Resources will find you. Creativity will flow like a river. Where there was once striving, there will be flow. Where there was once resistance, there will be ease. Everything connected to your name will begin to rise, not because you chased it, but because you became who you were meant to be. Your voice will carry new authority. When you speak, people will feel heaven in your tone. When you walk into a room, peace will enter with you. You will begin to see evidence of what was prophesied long ago, promises fulfilled, prayers, answered visions manifesting in real time. And you will know it was worth every battle. This is the transformation that destiny births, not just external change, but internal rebirth. The person you once were fades into the background as the person you were designed to be steps forward. It's not that you've become someone new. It's that you finally become yourself. And fulfillment will not feel like arrival. It will feel like alignment. You will understand that destiny was never about achievement, but about becoming one with the purpose written over your life. You'll begin to move effortlessly in the rhythm of God's will, and peace will accompany every step. The glory that follows obedience is unlike anything this world can offer. It's not loud or boastful. It's radiant, steady, and unshakable. You'll notice it in the way you wake up with purpose again, in how joy finds you without reason, in how your spirit feels light even under pressure. Everything that once felt uncertain will suddenly make sense. The pain had purpose. The waiting had weight. The silence had structure. You will finally see that God was never late. He was perfect in timing. And when others ask how it happened, you will simply say, I stepped forward. Take a deep breath. Feel this truth settling into your spirit. You have crossed over. This is no longer prophecy waiting to unfold. It is manifestation beginning to move. Heaven has spoken, your heart has aligned, and destiny is in motion. You have stepped through the door that once seemed impossible. You are walking in divine rhythm now. The winds that once opposed you now carry you forward. Before you move on, let these words root deeply within you. They are not mere affirmations, but declarations of Heaven One. I am divinely guided. Every step I take is ordered by God. Even when I cannot see the full path, I walk by faith, not fear. The light of heaven illuminates my way, and no darkness can overcome it. 2. I am protected and surrounded by divine favor. No weapon formed against me will prosper. Every plan meant for harm turns into purpose. Angels stand guard over my journey, and peace reigns over my mind. 3. I am ready and willing to step forward. I will no longer hide behind hesitation. I will move boldly into what God has called me to do. My obedience is my worship, and my courage is my offering. I am becoming everything heaven designed me to be. My past no longer defines me. My pain no longer limits me. I am transformed by grace, strengthened by faith, and crowned with purpose. Let these truths echo through your spirit each day until they become your reality. Speak them in the morning, whisper them in the night, and watch how the atmosphere around you shifts. And now receive this blessing. May the Lord go before you and make every crooked path straight. May His angels guard the gates of your destiny. May His favor rest upon your head like oil that never runs dry. May every hidden promise now come into view, every delayed prayer now meet its time, every closed door now open in divine sequence. May your steps be steady, your faith unshakable, and your heart fearless. You are walking in divine timing. You are stepping into fulfilled prophecy. You are no longer waiting, you are walking. And as you go forth, remember this unchanging truth. God's plan for you is still unfolding, and nothing can stop what heaven has ordained. Step forward. Your destiny is calling, and this time, answer it.